Hello, thank you so much for joining me today. It is going to be a long video. Lots of Hoya Repots. Very chatty. I hope you don't mind. If you do not like long chatty videos, this is not the video for you. I have a lot to pot up. It's actually going to be dedicated to a Hoya. I have, no joke, I probably have like 30 small Hoya. Probably not quite 30, but maybe 20 that I need to quickly pot up. So I asked you guys for some questions over on the community tab just to kind of help facilitate the conversation while I pot up, just to give me some topics to chat about, and maybe you guys can learn a little bit more about me. I went through some of the questions, but not all of them, and I honestly don't know how many I'm going to get to or how long this video is actually going to be. I'm a little worried it's going to be quite long. It is 3 o'clock and I'm going to lose light probably in like an hour and a half. That is my goal, to get these done in an hour and a half. But we'll see kind of how long it takes. I have everything set up on the table here, and we're gonna film in front of my new shelf to give a little ambience. I have some candles lit over there. This is kind of my setup. Now, granted, a lot of these Hoyas are new to my collection. Several of them were gifted. I have a lot in stratum. I have some in the original mix. So many cuttings, you guys. It is insane the amount of Hoya that are here. So I really need to take care of these small Hoya plants. I am putting everything into my aeroid mix, which is mostly a tree fern base. I have some clips and trellises. I have clear pots, and yeah, a little drink, some lip gloss, and my phone. And I also have my computer over here on the chair, ready to go. Really hope you enjoy. I'm going to get started here. Hi. There might be some kitties popping in and out of this video. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and let's get started. I turned off the overhead light for now because it gives like a weird orangey glow. So hopefully it's light enough so you guys can actually see. I'm kind of filming in a different angle. I'm normally sitting on this side and the window light is on this side, so I may need to adjust depending on how this goes. I cannot believe how many Hoya are here. I gotta count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. That is a lot. That is quite a bit. So I'm gonna do the best I can and get these taken care of. I'm actually gonna sit my soil mix over here. I have another little chair beside me just to give me some repotting room. So yeah, this will be a good video to put on in the background if you're doing plant chores yourself. And you can just turn this on and kind of just listen while I repot. I'm not really going to talk about the plants too much, just because I feel like I'm literally going to be doing the same process. They're either going to be in stratum, their substrate that they came shipped to me in, which is either like a soil or moss perlite mix. I need a spot for all these to go because they're in random places. Some are in my window, some were quarantining. They didn't have a spot yet. So it's going to be interesting finding a spot for all these. All right, hopefully we can see okay. And yeah, I'm just going to get started. And some of these questions may be repetitive, but if you're new to my channel, I can link all the Q&A videos I have done down below in the description. So if you click the little description box and open it up, there'll be a lot of information down in there. So I think I've done 3 or 4 Q&As on my channel, and where I've answered a lot of questions. And since I have so many, this will be the perfect time to do this. So I'm going to try and race against the sun. First question is about the kitty cats. I think I saw a few questions about the cats. This one here specifically, this person asked about each one of my cats, how I got each one, their names, personalities, which does each one prefer, you or your husband, etc. That is the first Hoya. And so the cats. So Star and Chai are siblings. This is going to be my dirty workstation. I'm probably going to need to get a trash bin. Star and Chai are brother and sister, and we got them first. So my husband and I had cats before these 3 cats. Because we've been together for a while now. If you don't know, I'm going to be soon to be 39 in January. So we actually been together for almost, yeah, this year was 20 years. We have known each other 20 years, my husband and I. We've only been married for 16 of those years, but we've been together for a while. We've had 2 cats before and our Saint Bernard. So this isn't like our first round of pets. And after our second cat was no longer with us, I really missed having cats. I'm just a huge cat lover. And my husband didn't really, not that he didn't like cats, but he wasn't around cats or anything. So he didn't really like them like he likes them now. He's more of a dog person though at heart. Like he loves dogs. So I feel like he only really likes cats because he was with me and I loved cats, and so he's grown to really like cats too. But yeah, so I think it was only a couple months after our last cat that we had to put down was no longer with us. I ended up finding Star and Chai in a pet store. I just saw them in there one day and they were sleeping together. They were the cutest little babies, and I called my husband. I'm like, there's 2 kitties here and I really want to get them because I knew I wanted another cat. And if I was going to get one, I wanted 2 so that they can keep each other company. Because those, I don't know, I just feel like one little cat, it needs a companion cat. So we ended up going through with the adoption, and honestly, our dog, we had our Saint Bernard still at that time, and so he was very interested in the cats when we first brought them home. But I think it took about a week and then they all kind of like warmed up together. That's the root system on that. Star and Chai were 6 months old when we adopted them, and everything was already done for them. Like they had already been spayed and neutered. They already had all their shots and everything, and so they were just ready to be adopted. Honestly, you guys, they were the cutest little kitties, little kittens. They're so cute. Star is a bit smaller. She's the female, and they were very sweet cats, very cuddly, and I love them so much. I still remember like bringing them home and everything, and it's just like what I needed. I just missed having cats. So I think it was after COVID had hit too. I think, was it 2020 when we got them, or 2019? I think it was 2019. And then the next year, I think it was April or May, is when Luna came about. And I wasn't planning on getting a 3rd kitty, but my husband was in the pet store one day and he let me know that there was a cat there that he had looked at. I guess he had seen her, Luna, and she was the cutest little thing. And he mentioned her to me and he showed me a picture, I guess. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, is this one available? Like, we have to get her. She's so cute. I think after he told me about her, I wanted to go see her. So we went there and I got to play with her and everything. And she was such a hyper crazy kitten, and I just loved her. I fell like immediately in love with her. And then we found out she was up for adoption with another couple, and I was so sad. Honestly, I was heartbroken. And I think it was the very next day we got a call. I had answered it, and apparently the adoption didn't work out. They had changed their minds, and the person knew that we had come to see her the day before, and she called asking if we were still interested in adopting her. I immediately was like, yes, most definitely. And that's how Luna happened. She was such the cutest kitten. And it's funny because as soon as I brought her home, like I was trying to isolate her from the rest of the cats. So I had planned on putting her into the bathroom at our old house. We had an upstairs level, and I put a gate across it. She immediately like jumped that gate and immediately like just went crazy, flying all over the house. Max, our Saint Bernard, was so curious in her, and I was worried like cause she was so small that he was gonna like hurt her, because he's a giant dog, you know. So I had to be very careful. Like, he was very interested and like wanted to bark and play and everything. So I was very careful. I would say it took about a week. The other cats didn't like her at first. They were like, who the heck is this in our house. Who is this crazy cat that's flying all over the place? I mean, Luna was crazy hyper. She was an extremely hyper kitten, but they warmed up to her and they all like got along well together and it just worked out. They're so cute when they're all three like together in the same photo. And that is that one. I can already tell I'm gonna have a battery issue. I don't know what is with my batteries. Maybe I'm chatting more than I think that I'm chatting and it's, I don't know. I need to speed things up. I'm just in a very chatty mood today. I don't know what it is. So yeah, that's how Luna came about. And yeah, she was a wild child. She was a crazy kid, but Luna like clung to me. She definitely attached to me. Okay, I'll change my battery. I'll be back. I don't remember where I left off. I was only gone for like a second. I already forget what I was talking about with the cats. But yeah, Luna definitely attached to me. She just, I don't know, she definitely imprinted on me. And Star and Chai have always loved like both of us. But I would say Star, like when we moved here, we've been here since 22, so it'll be 3 years next spring that we've been here. Star definitely attached more to my husband. Chai likes us both. But Luna definitely is like my little child. Now, I love all the cats. I don't like have favorites, but I guess I feel more attached to Luna because another question I had gotten about Luna was like, they had remembered when she had gotten sick and, you know, is she better now? So we don't know really what happened. We think it was maybe something viral. I think it was early last year. And she was like really sick. She had lameness in every one of her extremities, but it was at different times because it was initially her back leg. And I thought maybe, what if she had like jumped and had fallen and like hurt her leg? So initially when I took her in, I thought maybe she had hurt her leg and she's gonna need an x-ray and everything. But they found that like, and when we took her to the vet, like she wasn't limping or anything anymore and she was totally fine. But then later that night she started limping again, but it was in her other leg. It was just the presentation was very strange. She does have a luxating patella, which is where the kneecap kind of pops in and out of place in both of her back legs. They did find that she has that. So that's something that could get worse as she gets older, but she has crazy zoomies. She's run around like everything's fine. So at least so far, like she hasn't been affected by that. And I haven't noticed her being in pain or anything like that. But it was a scary, scary time. She did not look good. She looked really sick. I think she ended up getting a steroid, like an antibiotic, and she ended up getting like 3 injections. I personally think she probably got bit by something, but she was on heartworm, flea, tick prevention. Like they've been on that ever since we moved here and ever since we got them, and they've been exposed to being like outside and everything. So I don't know what she got bit by, but that's what I think that caused all this. It's just very strange how it just like presented with like her limping, and then it took a while. It took months and months for her to like, I feel like, get back to her normal self. And I think that maybe, I don't know if that scared her or what, but I was with her like all the time. So I feel like that's made her really attached to me even more. And I was so worried like something was going to happen to her. I don't know. It just really made me sad seeing her like that and seeing her not like a happy kitty. I'm going to use a stake for a lot of these because they're not really big enough for a trellis. They're probably going to look stupid with long stakes for a bit, but that's okay. But she's been better for a while. Sometimes I worry, like, is that going to happen again? And it's always in the back of my mind, but thankfully she's better and hasn't displayed any more signs of whatever the heck she caught. If it was viral, whatever it was. I'm gonna water these at the end. I think I'll just take them to my sink and spray them down and water them at the end, so I'm not making a watery mess everywhere. Personalities, they're all like very sweet cats. Chai is our hunter, the boy cat. Star is very timid, very shy, very quiet. She gets scared very easily. She gets skittish. Luna is a very curious kitty. She likes to investigate. I would say, I don't know if Luna's the boss, but I feel like Luna will get into fights with Star and Chai sometimes. You know, they get their kitty battles, and sometimes Star and Chai, they're siblings, so you can tell that they're siblings because they're very sweet. They sleep together all the time, but then at times they always fight. But Chai likes to pick on the females. He does start a lot of kitty fights sometimes, but they're like playful. They're not like always fighting. It's more of just like a playful playing and everything. Even if they don't have a lot of roots, I'm potting them up. I just need to get them out of their propagation vessels. Someone asked how my love for indoor plants began, and it was definitely during COVID times, working at the hospital. I talked about this in some of my older videos. I just was extremely stressed, and I don't remember exactly which plant started the initial craze, but I think it's because I went into Lowe's, because there was a Lowe's literally like 2 minutes from my house, and I had gone there and was browsing around the garden section. And I've always loved like outside, being in nature and going on walks, stuff like that. I don't know what plant made me go crazy about houseplants. I don't remember exactly how it started, but I definitely went crazy. I don't know. I just use plants as an outlet to de-stress. And I went crazy. I got so many plants in the beginning. And I also joined a local plant group and got so many plants, like cuttings from people. Those are some crazy fun times. And I did a lot of online plant shopping back in my day, and that's how a lot of my collection started. Was I would buy like cuttings, and because during those times plants were freaking expensive. I couldn't afford these like expensive plants during that time, so I would buy cheap cuttings from people and grow them out. And that's how I realized, like, I learned so much, because one, I didn't know anything about plants in the beginning and how to care for them. I overwatered a lot. Yeah, it was like a whole new world for me, but it was fun learning and caring for them. And it's crazy over the years, like how much knowledge I've gained, and it's all like trial error. But it's crazy to think back to those days. I don't know, it's crazy. It's crazy to think like, wow, like back then, would I have known my future self would be where I'm at right now? I didn't even think about social media when I got into plants. It wasn't initially like on my mind. It was just something I did in my days off from the hospital. You know, I would work those 12-hour shifts, and I did a lot of night shifts. And between like all my days off, I would, just do plant care. I started getting into plants and everything. And it just was a huge stress reliever. So that's what started the initial craze. And then it went crazy from there. I've never had as many plants as I currently have now. And I have no idea how many plants I have, because I don't even know how many plants I've gotten this year, but it's a lot, you guys. I have an insane amount of plants right now, an insane amount of plants. And it's partly because I want a good variety for the plant shop. I mean, granted, I've gotten a lot of free plants this year from, some shops gifted me plants, imports, stuff like that. But I have purchased quite a bit this year as well. I've been really looking forward to potting this one up. This is oh, I don't have the tag. I think this is a Wilbur Graves silver, or is it a silver? It's something. Wilbur China? No. I don't know. I'll find the name and put it on the screen, but I love how silver it is. So yeah, that's how the crazy plant obsession started. And I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly. When I initially found social media, it was mostly Instagram that I took to, and that I started an Instagram page, mostly just to document my plant journey. And at that time, like, reels didn't exist. I think at that time, like TikTok was a big thing. I started Instagram first, and I kept talking myself out of a YouTube channel for months and months and months, because I'm not someone who is I'm not a social butterfly. I get very anxious around like bigger groups of people and everything. So I'm not super, oh, this one hasn't started growing yet, this cutting. There's a node there, it just hasn't started growing yet. And this one has started growing. So these are 2 cuttings. It took a lot to get me to start YouTube, because back in the day, like way before plants ever started, I got really into makeup. At one point, I was watching a lot of beauty channels on YouTube. I've always been like a YouTube fan. I had collected makeup over the years and just spent so much on stuff, and I really wanted to start a beauty channel. This was probably like back in 2013 or so. This is a while ago. And I never did because I was embarrassed, and I just, yeah, I never started it, and I regret that now. I could always start a second channel and do whatever I wanted, which I may in the future, but it took me a while to get up the courage to start a channel. But I'm glad I did, because look at where I'm at now. It's crazy to think about that I get to work with plants and have plants be a job, and I have a plant shop now, which is something I always wanted to do. Like ever since I started propagating and growing plants, I've always wanted to, I don't know, I just love propagating so much that I always wanted to have like my own little shop. So it's crazy like that happened this year, and to think about everything, I don't know. It's crazy to look back. And I'm so grateful to be here. I can't think about it for too long, because then I start thinking about things. And I don't want to get like, I don't know, it's crazy, because it's not that I didn't like nursing at all, because I was a nurse for 10 years. It's just, it's crazy to think how much of my life was dedicated to a job that I'm no longer doing. But I have no desire at all to go back to being a nurse at all. And it's like to think like, what the heck did I do? Like, it's hard to really think about what did I do in my free time when I didn't get into plants. I know like my husband and I did things together, but other than that, like what the heck were my hobbies? Trying to think about that now, I'm like, dang, nursing really took up. I think I worked a lot of night shift and I was just tired, honestly. I think it took me so long to recover that I would sleep, and then it's like, I don't know, you know, normal, watch TV, go for a walk, groceries, cook dinner. It's like your day is gone, and then it's like back to work again. So I think it was just like an endless cycle. That one is so freaking cute. I love the silver on this one. Ooh, this is one of my favorites too. I propagated this one recently. This is the Matilde Splash. Not Splash, Matilde Variegated. I showed you, I do have a Matilde Splash, but it's not my splashy one, but this is the variegated. So I took 2 cuttings. I have like two to 3 node cuttings that I'm currently rooting. And then once they root, I'll let them go and sell them. But this one's, the base is still in the original mix. I just want to get it into a bit of a bigger pot. So yeah, it's just, yeah, the whole thing is just crazy looking back. I have an Anthurium question. They wanted to know about my Anthurium journey. When did you get your first one? What are some signs to look out for if they don't like the substrate they're in? Any wish list Anthuriums? Eventually an Anthurium care video would be awesome. I'm starting to get into the genus, thank you. That's from Tiffany. Thank you, Tiffany. So I collected Anthurium early on in my plant journey. I think my first Anthurium was a crystallinum, a Clarinervium, and like my same Clarinervium that I've crossed twice, my crystal and my forgetii. Those were my first, and a magnificum. Those are, I call those like my 4 little basics because I've had them the longest. I liked Anthuriums, but at that time I didn't really, Oh shit, I just made a mess. I also dropped a cup of stratum over there by the window that I have to clean up because I have stratum all over the floor. So I've always had like anthurium, but I never consider myself like an anthurium, like I wasn't obsessed with them. I loved all the plants. I just wanted any and everything. And plants were so expensive too. And I got mine online. I got my clary online. I got my crystallinum online for giddy eye. I was buying everything online. I bought a lot in Facebook groups, and then I also bought a lot on Etsy. That's why I do a lot of Etsy plant shopping. I even used eBay back in the day to buy plants on. And then I would go to like local shops and then also Facebook groups, like my local plant group. I would buy cuttings from someone and go drive to their house and pick it up. It was fun. But yeah, those were like my early anthuriums. And again, that was like part of my plant journey where I was still very much learning, and I had everything in soil. I didn't branch out and try pon until summer of last year. So that's like two and a half or so years into my plant journey. I didn't try semi-hydro. It was just strictly soil. I would use Fox Farm. Well, at first, when I first got into plants, I used Miracle Grow. I think we all did at some point. And then from there, I switched to using Fox Farm, Perlite, and Orchid Bark. That was like my go-to mix, and I have an old soil video on that. And I used Fox Farm for a really long time, and pretty much all my plants were potted into that mix. And then, you know, I started learning more about like aeroid mixes and soilless substrates and all that. And I'm still learning every day, still learning. And Anthurium is a genus that I still feel like I don't really know that much about, and I'm still very much learning. And, you know, because pon was new to me as of last year, I put some Anthurium into pon. But I do, ever since trying like tree fern, I think tree fern was a question on there too that I saw, like how I feel about tree fern. I honestly love it so much. And I feel like Anthurium and Hoyas really, 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 really love tree fern. It's gonna take a while for this one to grow up, this one. Yeah, I just feel like they really, really enjoy it. So just start out with like a tree fern base and add, like for my aeroid mix, I don't use perlite in here now, I use pumice instead. And then, you know, some bark. I add vermiculite and cocoa husk just to retain some moisture in there. And then, what else? I do have some charcoal in here. And I add some lava rock too for some like added aeration and weight and everything. But yeah, just like make a tree fern base, add some aeration components, and then you have like a good aeroid mix. But I love tree fern. I feel like everything grows so well in there, and I prop directly into a tree fern now. So I get roots, especially Hoya, I get roots very quickly. Tree fern and perlite. Hoya really love tree fern. Yeah, if I find like some of my anthuriums, if I find like one doesn't seem happy, like I want to investigate my, which one was it? Maybe my crystallinum and for giddy eye. I don't know. They were dealing with rot issues when I put them into pon. So I feel like the health of the plant kind of depends on that too. You know, because if you don't have a healthy plant to begin with, it may not do the best. It may struggle when you are trying to decide, you know, which substrate to do. And you can always change it down the road. Like if you find you don't like a substrate or the plant just doesn't seem happy, there's usually a couple things that could be going on. Either, you know, there could be a pest issue or a root health issue. There's usually something that caused like stunted growth. Hi, Loon. No, you can't jump up here. Yeah. Hi, Loon. Hi, Loon. You always gotta come say hi to mommy. My camera needs to cool down. I probably need to turn some more light on too. I might have to turn my overhead light on because it's gonna get dark in like 30 minutes. It's gonna start getting dark. This is one of my Hoya Matildas. It's not the splashy one that I have. That one I had already potted up a while ago. I just wanted to go ahead and get this one out of stratum. So yeah, maybe one day I can make an anthurium care video here when I feel more comfortable. I have a lot of anthurium that I got this year. Like over half of my anthurium I probably got this year. And probably half of those I probably got within like the last couple of months. So yeah, I'm gonna see how it goes. I feel like I'm gonna be putting new ones in my aroid mix, which is tree fern for them instead of pond. So wishlist anthurium. I think I got a lot of unique hybrids recently. I probably don't have any wishlist anthurium right now off the top of my head. Because again, I feel like I'm new to the anthurium world and I just don't know enough about them. I think the one that I really wanted that I got recently was the Delta Forest. I don't know if you can see it behind me there. And I'm really looking forward to growing that one for next year. Because as soon as I saw that one, like I knew I had to have it. And I have my big hybrid that I created of the same two plants, but it's not the same. It doesn't look the same. So I'll have to see. I'm gonna make my wish list out for next month and film that. So I'm excited to kind of sit down and think about what plants I want to potentially get next year. I do feel like this year was quite a lot in my collection, so I don't feel like I'm gonna get as many next year because again, like my collection is growing at a quick pace. And part of that reason is because I have a plant shop and I want like a good variety to continually shop for the prop. And did I say shop for the prop? I meant prop for the shop. I just want a good variety because you know, I love having a plant shop now and I love being able to, because I just love propagating. And again, like my plants are going to continue to keep growing and growing and growing. And I don't know, I just love growing plants out and being a source for someone to get plants from. Like that makes me really happy. And I love it. I love packing plants. I love the whole process and I really enjoy it. So, but yeah, we'll see if I include any anthurium for my wish list video. All right, I'm gonna pop this up and then meet you back here. I'm gonna let my camera cool for just a second. I might actually pot up a couple more off camera while my camera cools and we'll continue on. Okay, there's gonna be a little bit of a light shadow now. I had to turn the overhead light on. It's getting a little dark, so sorry about the glare from above. So I did 3 while the camera was cooling down. This Hoya Lime Splash. This is a Lacinosa, which I'm not sure. I don't have the tag to that one. I'll have to look that one up. And the Mathilde, the other one that I have here, I'm not putting that one on a trellis. And all these Hoyas I might not keep. I know several of these were gifted. So if it's a Hoya that I don't know, I'll take a look at the blooms, but if I feel like I'm not interested in like taking the time to grow it, if I don't feel like I want to propagate it, if it's one that's growing slow, I just don't really want it in my collection, I'll just put it on the shop to see maybe if someone else wants it. But, oh, that's a Lacinosa Silver Snow. That's the tag. So the tag for this one is at the kitchen sink. Okay, this one is Papashonii. However that one is. This is the one that I got that dropped all of its leaves, but it is growing back. And all the little pots that they came in, I'll just wash them out. But I'm getting rid of the substrate because I don't like to reuse old substrate that the plants came in. I would rather just pot them up in my mix. There's a kind of a personal question about my childhood and family, what it was like growing up, etc. And I feel like that's something that I don't want to talk about on my channel because it's one of those things too, like what you put on the internet is out there. And I don't really want to like talk necessarily about, I don't know. I don't know if they watch my videos. I don't have a relationship with my family. I never talk about that because of that reason. I will say I grew up in Ohio. It's a very small town that I grew up in. I do have 2 sisters, one older, one younger. and my parents are divorced, and I don't really get along with my family. And that's okay. Things happen, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel comfortable sharing because, again, I don't want to talk about them. And again, I don't know if they watch my videos. I met my husband when I was still living in Ohio and ended up moving in together. He is from NC, North Carolina. So that's where I lived for like the past 18. It's crazy. I lived in Ohio for 18 years, and then I lived in North Carolina for almost another 18 years. And yeah, I've been in Savannah now 2.5 years. So I've only lived, like, I guess you could say on the East Coast. But yeah, growing up, very small town. I had a very small high school. So growing up, yeah, I didn't come from a lot. My parents didn't go to school. They were high school sweethearts. They didn't go to college. Neither of my sisters went to college, so I was the only one in my family that went to college. You know, I'm glad I put myself through nursing school because, again, it was a lot. It was very challenging, and I didn't know what to do with my life at that time. I knew, like, I needed a job and a stable career. You know, I didn't always grow up wanting to be a nurse. Actually, when I was very tall, like at an early age, and I was very skinny back in the day, like very, very thin, and I wanted to model, believe it or not. So it's crazy how different things in your life like put you on a different path, I guess, because I don't know, I'm grateful like the path that I did take and go down, because who knows, like thinking back, like you don't want to think about like, well, what if, you know. I'm glad that I did go to school and I worked as a nurse, and heck, I don't think I ever would have been into plants if I wasn't at that point in my life. So, but yeah, growing up, I had, yeah, like I said, a younger sister and an older sister. So I was the middle child, and it's not that my childhood was bad or anything like that. It's just I don't have some good memories from my childhood. And so yeah, I don't know if I would have a relationship again with them. It's just, yeah, I just, for my own like mental health and everything, I just needed to separate myself. And that's what I did. And I don't regret that at all. It's just, I don't know what the future holds, but I don't think I'm ready to start that again. Someone asked if I would do a hair care and nail routine. I do want to. I had filmed me doing my hair. Do I look so washed out? Does it look terrible, you guys? Do I need to cut this light off? Yeah, I think I do. Ooh, I'm excited for this one. This is a mint coin that I got. I'm so excited for this one. I love silvery Hoya. I do want to. I had filmed a part of my hair routine and makeup routine. This was like a while ago, like earlier this year, and I was going to post it, or I was going to edit it to post it, and then I had accidentally deleted some footage when all my memory cards were full. This was before I got new memory cards. Now I have double the memory cards. And so it didn't make sense to only post what I had because I had deleted half of it. But I'll refilm it one day here. Because I do get asked about that sometimes. I have been wanting to start like a different channel where it's not like I do stuff other than plant stuff for those that are interested in it. So maybe one day I'll start that up, but I don't know. It's a lot for this one channel with the plant shop. So to even think about like filming other content is a lot to think about for me. I'm someone who can get overloaded very easily, like with everything going on. YouTube videos alone for my main channel, like it takes me a while to, sometimes it takes me a while to film. It takes me a while to edit. I'm not a fast editor. And I like editing my own videos. Like I wouldn't want anyone else editing. And the issue I have with editing is I mess up constantly. You guys don't see that, but I do so many cuts in my videos because I end up going on a tangent, sometimes chatting. I'm like, is that really necessary to include? And sometimes I mess up, and I don't know. It just takes me a while to edit videos. And like having a shop now, honestly, it's so much work. And I love the shop. I love having that and growing and selling plants, but trying to do that on top of social media is a lot because I'm just one person. If I had help, it would be, I think it'd be a different story, but I'm definitely not there yet. I already feel like I have so much plant care to do in any downtime that I have. I feel like I'm always doing plant stuff. I feel like it's rare that I have an evening free where I'm not doing anything plant related. Because in my evenings, I'm usually editing or I'm making props or watering. So, and I love it. Like I love plant care, but I don't want to burn myself out in the same way because I do need time to decompress and everything else. So I've been trying to find that balance. Some weeks are more stressful than others, but sometimes I just have to realize like, okay, well, you need to take this evening for yourself. You know, you're just gonna have to push your video back a day, and everything. So I'm still trying to figure all that out. It's hard trying to balance it all. Doing YouTube alone solely, like the income isn't enough to do it. It just wasn't cutting it. And then I feel like I could, you know, start doing sponsors on my channel. And it's just something I'm not really interested in because I don't know. I feel like for me to do a sponsor, it just has to be worth my time. But yes, to answer your question, I do want to do some other videos other than plant stuff. So maybe eventually I'll have a second channel started for that. Whenever I do get downtime to do like those kinds of videos. I'm running out of room. It's a mound of a Hoya over here. Oh, this is the same one that I got as with the cartel down imports, the Bruno tricolor. I wonder if I should pot this one up together with that one. Well, I'll pot it up for now separately, and then whenever I go to pot the import up, I'll pot that up. If you had to start collecting houseplants over again, would you change anything with the current knowledge that you have? Also, my boyfriend and I love your videos. So helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If I had to start collecting houseplants over again, would I change anything with the current knowledge that I have? That's a tough question. I feel like back then, you know, not having the knowledge base, I don't regret anything because that's how I've learned what I know now with trial and error and everything else. But having the knowledge that I have now, and I feel like there's plants I definitely wouldn't have gotten, I just wanted them back then just to get them because it was like a new plant I didn't have. Like I was crazy obsessed. I mean, I still am, but I was like crazy obsessed back in the day. I probably would have tried pon sooner as well, like semi-hydro. I think I was just so scared because it was something that I knew nothing about. And I still remember last year, even having like houseplant knowledge, even last year, because it was something totally new. Like when I first tried pon, I was still clueless. It was so much to learn. And I don't know, I was just scared to try it, I guess. I let that fear of not knowing what the heck I was doing to like prevent me from trying it. But I wish I had tried it sooner. I feel like for me, this question, if I didn't have a plant shop, I wouldn't nearly have as many plants as I have now. I feel like I would definitely cater my collection to something that's more manageable and only keep plants that I really want for me. And because the more plants you have, the more problems are going to come with it. It's more to care for. Some plants obviously aren't going to get as best of care as others. You know, more plants come more pests and everything else. So I would definitely like downsize quite a bit. And even with having a plant shop, I mean, I could always downsize, which I definitely think I'm going to do next year. I feel like I don't need all these Hoya, especially ones that I have duplicates of. I will probably downsize some of those so it feels a little less overwhelming, because not only is my own actual plant collection growing, but making all these little props all the time, like it's a lot to care for. So yeah, I feel like I would definitely be more cautious on what plants I'm buying. Some of these stakes are going to be a little wobbly in here, but that's okay. I could use those little strawberry pins for some of these until they get growing. This one I was so sad about. This one shocked. It dropped all of its leaves, so it's just a stick now. It's the inner, or Hoya Bella inner variegated. I was really sad about that. The outer variegated shocked a little, and it dropped some leaves here, but then it shot out this node. So I feel like this one's stabilized, but this one just, I don't think that's, it might be viable, but I feel like this whole thing is going, but I'll investigate that. I was really sad about that. I've never had a Hoya Bella before, so I bought this one, and that one was a freebie that was included. So, I don't know, I might not get that one. I feel like this node here is not doing anything at the top because it's shooting out a new node. But we'll see, because I have a growing Hoya collection. I don't know how many I have, but it's a lot. I have an Alocasia Frydek that has gone almost completely white. Is there any way to revert it back to white and green? By the way, love your vids. Thank you so much. So for me, I feel like if a plant is growing more white, I know like genetics has a lot to do with it, just the way that that particular plant decided to grow. I would first check to see if it has any corms. I would probably restart or grow a second plant from the corm, just to have like a backup one in case something did happen to your original plant. So white plants, variegated plants, need a lot of light to be able to photosynthesize like efficiently because there is so much white on the plant. So I know like high light can bring out variegation in some plants, but also like if you move it away from too much light, then it could shock and everything too. So it's a tricky issue with light. But if it's that highly variegated, I probably wouldn't change the lighting situation with it. Depending on what you're feeding with, you could try a different nutrient. Someone told me, I meant to look this up, I just remembered someone told me that a fertilizer higher in nitrogen can promote, more white on plants, like higher variegation. Is that true? I don't know if that's true. I'm gonna have to look that up. I think that's what someone told me before, because I've had a lot of my Alocasia Frydek corms come in all white, and I don't fertilize them right away, but it's just like the random genetics, it decides to grow all white because they're all under the same conditions, and some will grow all white, some will grow beautifully, like beautifully variegated, and some grow in with hardly any variegation. It's very interesting. So I honestly, I would probably say it's probably the particular genetics of that corm, but I wouldn't like remove it from too much light just because you don't want it to start like browning and going into shock, because it really does need the light because it does have so much white. But you could try, I don't know what you're fertilizing with, you could try a different fertilizer to see if that does anything with the variegation. But I honestly, if I had a plant that was growing all white, or I didn't like the way it was growing, like if it wasn't an alocasia, say if it was, I've done that before where like a philodendron or a pothos even, where it's growing like one strand all reverted and one variegated, I would prop it back, and that new node that grows will continue with a different variegation pattern. But with alocasia, it's different because it's just the one corm. So yeah, it's a tough question. If any of you guys have any tips about that, leave it in the comments below. But I'm trying to think, that's probably the only thing I would think is just to grow out a different corm from that plant, or change like the nutrients it's receiving to maybe see if that'll do something with the variegation. But I honestly wouldn't move it away from the light that it's currently getting. Unless you're blasting it with a ton of light, you could try a little bit less. But yeah, probably just the genetics of that corm. Oh, this one's cute. Isn't it cute? Cute, cute, cute. Hoya Bella, variegated, outer variegated. Albo marginata. So yeah, the inner one is just a stick. Let's see what's going on with this one. I'm really sad to have lost this one. Yeah, it's just a stick. There's nothing. This is mushy, this node. This is nothing here. Yeah, unfortunately, this is a goner. It's just a stick. That one didn't make it. I'm really sad about that. Ooh, I was excited about this Hoya. This is the Lacinosa variegated. So it was doing okay for a while. Like, this is all the growth that it came with me as. And then I think it must have shocked or something, because it didn't grow any leaves, and then it grew this bunch at the top, and then it's kind of slowed down. So I've had it in stratum for a while though, so I do need to get it out of here. And some of these I have let accidentally go like too dry, so the roots may have shocked. I don't know, I'm gonna get it potted up. Maybe it'll do better once I get it into the airway mix. But this gap here is bugging me a bit. I'm like, I wonder if I should prop it. I'll let it grow more. I'll just pot it up. It has a very tiny root system. Pink variegation is super beautiful. I agree. I have fallen in love with like pink plants, and my pink black velvet and bambino are like some of my top favorite alocasia. I love the pink. They do cost a lot to buy. How much light, water, and feed do they need to keep looking healthy? And are there other things one should know before purchasing an expensive plant? I like the pink alocasias mainly. Greetings from dark Sweden. It's winter here and the days are becoming really short. Aw. Yeah, we're heading into winter too. I mean, I don't get nearly as cold weather as other people, but yeah. I like the fall season, but heading into winter gets kind of gloomy with the cold. I don't mind it though. You can like warm up with a warm cup of tea or hot cocoa or whatever it is, and I don't know, it's a cozy time of year. I mean, variegated plants are expensive obviously depending on the type and how rare they are, but with pink variegated, like alocasia specifically, I know they're pricey. I've gotten a few. I got the pink nobilis recently, and then I have 2 pink bambinos and the pink black velvet, and I love them all. Yeah, expensive plants can be scary because anything can happen when you buy plants. You just don't know how how it'll respond to your conditions and if it'll shock. And the main thing I do is when I get a new plant, I try not to mess with it right away. So if I buy like that pink nobilis, even with my pink black velvet and the bambinos, I didn't mess with them right away. You just want to put them in a spot. I mean, if you have a spot where you can isolate them, that's preferably in case there is pest. You don't really want to contaminate or spread to the rest of your plants. Ideally, if you have a cabinet, or not even a cabinet, but if you do like a makeshift greenhouse where you can get some clear plastic like tote bins that are big enough, and where you can do like one on the bottom and one on top and have like an enclosed greenhouse, but you can still crack it. That way they're isolated and they're getting that environment. So plants kind of rehab well under good growing conditions, and depending on where the plant came from, a lot of plants tend to grow in greenhouse conditions, and so they like it where it's really warm, it's really humid, they're getting a good amount of light. So you want to try and simulate that when you get a plant, so it can go through a period, so it can adjust better than just like going into a drastically different environment. And of course, all plants respond differently, but I would try and give them like a good environment, try and keep them isolated. You still want to give them a good amount of light, and then honestly, just let them be. Don't mess with them for like a couple weeks. If they're dry and they need water, give them water. You can gently fertilize them, make sure they're still getting nutrients. Don't be afraid to feed your plants because they need nutrients to be able to grow well, and inspect for pests. And for alocasia specifically, I love pond for my alocasias. So for me, I move them to stratum first for a period of time, and then I'll go from stratum to pond now for alocasias. So it's not like a total shock all at once, and it needs time to grow in some different water roots. Like as long as you're confident like with your plant care, if you're killing a bunch of plants left and right and you're not sure why, then I would probably hold off getting an expensive plant until you can kind of figure out like what's going wrong with the plants that you currently have. I wouldn't jump straight into getting expensive plants unless you feel more comfortable with that. But trying to give them like a good environment when you get them is gonna really help them like adjust. Okay, how many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 that I need to pot up, and 1 I've already potted up. I just wanted to get this one on a trellis actually, because I don't think I need to. I might go ahead and put this in a 4-inch and put a trellis on this one so that it can grow a little bit better. So I might do this one off camera real quick because I need to let my camera cool down again. And then I have some bigger ones here that I just need to like get out of their original substrate. I have a couple of those. I still have a couple in stratum, some that I've had in stratum for a while. So yeah, I'll probably do a couple more off camera and then I'll be back to answer some more questions. We are back. I potted up this Dischidia, kind of same situation. And this Lacinosa I put on a circle trellis like that because it was a little long. And this is the one that I upsized to a 4-inch just so that I could use a trellis. So this is a propagation, this one here, and it's in moss. Do I ever experience plant burnout? Luna, if you make that fall. Do you ever experience plant burnout? If so, how do you deal with it and how long does it last? I have over 200 plants and sometimes I wake up and I'm like, what have I done? LOL, but I also know I didn't have them, I would miss them so much. I know, I go through phases. I feel like for me specifically, like because I've acquired so many plants, the more plants I have, I feel like the more burnout I experience and stress. I mean, 200 plants is a lot, it's a good number. I remember back in the day, like 200 was pretty much my plant limit. Plants are supposed to be a hobby. Yeah, it's fun collecting them and everything. You can consider a collection, but it is a hobby and you want it to be enjoyable. And you don't want it to feel like it's a task. Because I feel that way a lot. Like I feel like moss pole chops was really burning me out there for a while towards like the end. I'm just like, the thought of like chopping and extending a pole, I like dreaded it because I'm like, it's so much work and you don't want to think of it like that. You could try some different substrates that are a little bit more forgiving as far as like the maintenance. For me, since I have a lot of plants in pot now, specifically a lot of my alocasia, caring for them has been a heck of a lot easier. And it saved me time on watering day when I can just fill up a reservoir versus soil and having to be on time with that. And pond has definitely helped my care routine for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you have duplicates, I mean, I have duplicates of some plants and that's totally fine, but maybe just you really need more than one of the same plant. And it's okay to let plants go. And if you end up missing it down the road, then, you know, you can always get it again in your future. I feel like you're always going to be able to find the plant somewhere. Someone should be selling either a cutting or a starter plant. You know, you have to look at what's making you feel burnout too. Is there other things going on in your life at that time that you're experiencing the burnout? Because yeah, sometimes like when there is a lot going on outside of plants, sometimes I can feel overwhelmed. Remember to give yourself like some grace too, and it's okay. Like plants are more resilient than you think. If you're experiencing burnout and you need to take a break, like take a break. Your plants will be okay. You know, if you have to do a quick watering here and there just to get them watered so that, you know, they don't get sad. And even if some get sad, like that's totally okay. You have to take a break. But yeah, just think about what is making you feel overwhelmed. Like write a list down. You can go through your collection and sometimes I ask myself, if I look at a plant, I'm like, does this plant bring me joy anymore? And if you're questioning it, then it's probably time to consider like maybe letting that one go. Because yeah, a lot of my collection, when I got into plants, I got like just because it was a new plant and I really wanted it. But knowing like now I have plants in my collection that I don't really like care to have anymore. Or recently, like for me, I've fallen in love with like I've always loved variegated plants, but if you have a regular version and you have a variegated version, like which one do you like better? Like for me, I have, take for example, like the Regal Shields alocasia. I got the variegated one recently and I adore it. And I love my regular Regal Shields, but it's getting too big. So I think I'm considering letting that one grow outside next year and, you know, just leaving it out there because I can't have like so many big plants taking up space in my actual house. Same with like the black velvet alocasia. I have the variegated one now, and of course I like the variegated one a lot. I still like the regular, but do I really need to keep both? So something to consider. And like for me, since I have a shop too, I'm thinking about, are people interested in the regular black velvet anymore? Is there a market for that? Is it worth my time and effort to grow out corms, to grow these plants? If no one's interested in buying it, is it even worth keeping, you know, the mother plant? Maybe I should just let the mother plant go. So it's a lot to think about. Yeah, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, some things just have to go. You have to take care of yourself first and, you know, do what you have to do to kind of give yourself a break so that you can go back into it feeling like good about your collection and everything, because this hobby is an expensive hobby for one. It's a lot to, you know, buy. It's expensive to buy plants, let alone like all the stuff that you need for plants, all the time and energy into growing them. So you want to be happy with the hobby. And it's okay to go through those periods of time. I mean, I go through them all the time. I go through periods of time. Just the other day, I was looking in my plant room when I was moving all my anthurium out here. I'm like, holy heck. I'm like, I've gotten so many plants. And not only that, but they've really grown in size. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, it's crazy looking back at my older videos of my plant collection at certain times, because I'm like, it's crazy what my collection has grown into. So yeah, it's perfectly okay to feel like that. I feel like we all feel like that in some sort of way every now and then. So yeah, my biggest advice is just take a step back. You know, it's okay. Your plants are going to be okay. Just kind of reevaluate what's stressing you out. And if you feel like you have too many plants and it's overwhelming you, the best thing you can do is just get rid of some. Because it's honestly, it's going to help so much. That's that little cutting. It had the growth point starting. This one was gifted, Hoya SP33. And there's some other numbers with it. Woo, I still got lots to do. This is another Lacunosa. I have so many Lacunosa plants now. It is insane. You know, sometimes I think what I think might be a mealy, it's actually the little, you know, the little roots, the little bumps on the stem. I'm like, is that a mealy? I'm like, no, it's a root. I'm struggling with my Hoya video. They hate being watered but dry out. Struggling with my Hoyas. They hate being watered but dry out and die if I wait 3-4 weeks. When I do water, they turn mushy and die. What should I do? So if you think about Hoyas and how they grow in nature, they're epiphytic. So they really honestly would prefer, I would want to know what your substrate is. Like, what are they planted in? Because they really like aeration, like an aeroid mix, you know, really chunky soil. Like my aeroid mix, like you can see how chunky that is. So I would probably, if you're just using straight potting soil, I would get some chunky perlite and bark and add it in there and mix it up so that it's nice and aerated. And it's going to help them, because oxygen to the roots is really important. And another thing I would want to know is how much light are they receiving, because Hoyas do like a pretty good amount of light. So I think it's probably a combination of like environment factors. If they seem to rot and die right away, I would think the substrate might be staying too moist. So it makes me think that there's not enough aeration going on, or the soil is too dense. So that's what I would think, is just maybe pot it into something that's a lot more aerated and then water and wait for the substrate to dry out and then water again. But I water my Hoyas when they go dry. And usually Hoyas, like, It depends. Some leaves are thicker on Hoyas. So if a Hoya has a pretty thick leaf, it can hold on to water longer. Whereas Hoyas, if they have a more thinner leaf, they won't retain water as long. So you might need to water the thinner leaves more often. But if the Hoya leaves start to feel thin and wrinkly, then they're definitely thirsty. Or there could be like a root issue going on if you've watered and they're still thin and they're not happy. So yeah, I would start with a substrate, what they're potted in, and try increasing light and try that out and see if they do a bit better. But again, I don't know what your conditions are or anything. Another Hoya question, why don't my Hoya bloom? They are in south-facing windows in a sunroom, so light all around, plus plant lights. They get fed every watering. I have 10 plants and only 2 have bloomed. So blooming is something that I feel like personally just takes time. I've had Hoyas in my collection for years now and they still haven't bloomed. So I would try and be patient with them. You can try feeding with a fertilizer higher in, I think it's phosphorus, that promotes blooming. You can try a bloom fertilizer. I don't know what you're feeding with. You say you feed them every watering, but I would try, if you're wanting specifically to try and get blooms, try looking into a feed that has more phosphorus. There are like feeds, I think, doesn't GT have a fertilizer that's specifically for blooms? You could try something like that. It sounds like they have a lot of light, which Hoyas love. It sounds like the perfect environment for them. Depending on like the maturity of your specimen when you got it. Oh no, do I have any more of those stakes? Oh, I have one right here. I'm gonna have to go get more stakes. I have heard like stress can induce blooming. I don't know how true that is. You know, the plant produces blooms to like try and stay alive. When you get new Hoyas, you could look for Hoyas that have peduncles already. That would get them to bloom sooner. I feel like some Hoya varieties too just bloom more easily than other varieties. So maybe just the particular varieties you have, maybe they're slower at blooming. I have all these freaking Hoyas on the table. You guys can only see a small part of them. Like, it's crazy, the amount of Hoyas. All right, I have this one here, the Wilbur Graves China. I have this Carnosa Freckle Splash. I just need to get these out of their original pots. So I have those 2, and then I have 3 other Hoya here that I think I'm gonna do those 3 off camera real quick, just to save time. I'll just show you what they are. They've been in stratum for a while. I have this fuzzy leafed one here that just needs trellised and potted up. Like I said, it's been in stratum for a while. I have this one here, same situation. I've let this one go way too long. It's another fuzzy one. I need to get this out of stratum and potted up. And this is another one that's been in stratum way too long. This is a microdwarf and it has like 3 vines growing. This one is a Hoya that I wasn't sure I wanted to keep. I need to look at the blooms, but I think I might just pot it up for now and then decide later. But I need to get this kind of repotted and trellis. So I'm gonna do these 3 real quick off camera. And then I'll come back on and do these final 2 with you and kind of get this video finished up because I am losing light. It's gonna start getting very dark in here. I got the one potted up and the other 2 that were in stratum were actually rotted. I just propagated them again. I just cut away the root system and I put them in a fresh thing of stratum. I don't know what happened. They were both in the white acrobar. I think what happened is I let them go too dry too many times, because I always forget about that little white one over there. And yeah, I think I just probably, either that or they're not getting enough light and the stratum stayed too wet, because I had them in the big cups of stratum, which was too much stratum. I don't know what I was thinking, putting those in such a large cup. So yeah. This one here is my Wilbur Graves. It's beautiful. I propagated this already and I sold 3 cuttings. 3 rooted cuttings with growth. And so this is a new, you can see where I cut right there. I don't know if you can. And so this is a new node that has shot up, which I'm excited. It has a really good color. Look at that silver. Yeah, this is the original mix, which I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I actually had just watered it the other day, so. And it doesn't have drainage, this cup either, so I just want to get it out of this mix and into my own. Your Clarinervium silver veins are so prominent. What setting, light, high, low, does it receive? My veins are barely visible. My Clarinervium, so it's actually up there now, you can't see it. My Clarinervium pretty much has lived in my Ikea cabinet since I moved here. So it's been under the Barina. They're the T8 lights, and there's 2 of them up there, which is pretty intense light for my Clarinervium. And it doesn't seem to mind. Like I said, it's been in there for 2.5 years, and I just moved it out here. I was actually really worried about that one transitioning to like quite a bit lower light levels. So I'm still kind of seeing how these Anthurium do. It seems like this mix is all cocoa core. But it was under a pretty good light, pretty intense light. I got my Clarinervium, gosh, probably back in 2020. It's been a while. It's been with me for a really long time. It was one of my first Anthuriums that I've like ever gotten. I almost want to buy a second one just to have a second one because I really like it. Mine, you know, I've pollinated it. It's been pollinated for 2 years in a row, and it's been stressed, I feel like, because of the pollination. So it just spit out another inflow, so I'm going to give it, I might collect the pollen, but I'm going to give it some time before I pollinate it again because I had repotted it. Yeah, I'm just going to give it a break. But yeah, pretty highlight, I would say. Those 2 Barina T8s, I think one time I measured, it was like close to 2,000 foot candles. How do I feel about the DocBlock Anthuriums hitting the big box stores? I think that's so cool. I have a Michelle, it is right there, I think. And if I came across one at the big box store, I would be tempted to buy it, buy a second one. From what I've seen, I think a couple videos popped up on my For You page about it. So I was curious, and it seems like they're, from what I could tell, the specimens are pretty big, and some are finding 2 plants in there. So I definitely would be tempted to buy another if I saw them. But I think it's cool that those kind of Anthurium are like at big box stores, you know? I don't know, I just think it's cool. I would love to come across them. What do you eat when you are working? I eat a variety of stuff. I'm not vegan. One time I shared a recipe on my Instagram about something, and someone had DM'd me, like, it honestly bothered me. They had DM'd me that I shouldn't be eating meat or something, and something going on about being vegan and everything. And I'm not a vegan, I eat meat, but I'm not a lunch eater. I would say I try to eat a good breakfast if I can, or sometimes I don't feel like making breakfast, so then I'll do something quick like a bowl of cereal, or I'll grab, every once in a while I go get a coffee and I'll grab a breakfast sandwich. I usually do eggs. I'll make a couple eggs. Sometimes I make acai bowls. They're one of my favorites for the morning if I'm in the mood. If I have like bananas and I'm in the mood, because I usually blend a banana up in my packets, and then every once in a while I'll do like pancakes or something, but not that often. And then I'm usually a snacker during the day. Sometimes I'll just buy like little snack packs. Sometimes I'll have leftovers, but I usually don't eat a big lunch. Sometimes I'll buy like pre-made salad mixes at the grocery store and eat that. Sometimes I just eat whatever, whatever's in the pantry. And then for dinner, I usually eat a bigger dinner because my husband and I will usually eat dinner together. And we'll either make something here, and if I am cooking, I try to have enough for leftovers for the next night. That way I'm not cooking so many nights out of the week. I don't mind cooking, but sometimes like tonight I'm busy filming and we do have leftovers because it's like dinner time right now. It's like completely dark now. I don't know what time I started, but it is 6 o'clock. I think I started at 3:30. So I've been filming this for a while. This has taken a while. Minus a few like periods where I had to stop and clean up and everything and let my camera cool down for like 15 minutes. Yeah, just pretty much anything that we're in the mood for. Sometimes we eat out. Sometimes we go out with our neighbors and we'll go to a restaurant. Yeah, just any and everything. I don't have like a certain diet that I stick to per se. It's just whatever we're in the mood for. I'll usually go to the grocery store probably like once a week, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do this in a 4-inch. And I'll usually try and plan out like meals for the week to get an idea of like what we're gonna have to eat, but sometimes we still don't really stick to that, or sometimes our like neighbor will randomly message us like, hey, do you guys want to go get together, go out, you know, to eat, and then we'll just eat whatever we were planning on eating that night, like a different night. Do you think moss poles are worth the trouble? You know, I am slowly falling out of, not out of love, but I just don't have the time like I used to put in the care. If I didn't have this plant shop, I definitely would still be doing moss poles. But since I have the shop now, it's too many plants to care for. I just don't have the time. I like dread when it's time to chop a moss pole. I'm like, and I don't know why. I loved moss poles, really did at one point. I had close to 40, but I've taken a lot off now. And I don't know, I mean, I still enjoy big leaves, but I also like propagating my plants now so I can grow plants to sell. So I don't necessarily need the big leaves. I feel like if you like big leaves, then it's definitely worth it. At least do like, maybe do a couple and see how it goes. I would say you don't have to have every plant climbing on a moss pole to grow huge in your collection. You don't need that. The maintenance is a lot, it really is. I wish I didn't do so many poles. But I was really into them at one point. I was obsessed with moss poles and I really enjoyed it. And I looked forward to the growth. Each new leaf was so exciting to see. And I still get like that. I just prefer less maintenance now. I think I was saying in another video that what I'll do is probably like the poles that I currently have, I'll probably leave them. Like I've already planned on taking a couple more off, and this one looks so good potted up. Oh yeah, I was gonna do, I think I might do this trellis for this one. Let's hold off on that and we'll get that trellis here. Ugh. I think I just put this trellis on just to put it on, but it's not even really doing anything because I did propagate this one already. Yeah, I enjoy moss poles. It's just, for me, like I kind of get the same growth without damp sphagnum moss. And when I go to actually propagate it, or if I want to chop it, you know, it won't really have a root system to do like a chop and extend per se. But what I'll do is just air layer the top section, like the top node, so that it can grow in some roots, and then I'll just chop it and replant the top with the healthy root system. A lot of the times too, like the poles, it ends up being that the roots dry up inside because I've been underwatering them so much lately that there really isn't a significant root system. So it's like, is it even worth it keeping the poles moist if I'm just gonna let the roots dry up all the time? So I don't know, I'm conflicted. I still like them, and it depends, but I'm not gonna go crazy with poles anymore. Oh, this looks really cute with that black trellis. Oh, I'm so excited for this one. I'll definitely prop this one again because I sold my last cutting. So once this one grows, I'm gonna let it grow and then I'll chop it. So yeah, if you're wanting to do them, definitely go for it and see how you like it. And you know, just don't go crazy. You don't need every plant huge in your collection. And if you don't really have the time, or you don't really want to put all that effort into it, then definitely don't, because it is a lot of maintenance. Because when you're feeding and watering moss poles all the time, they grow pretty quickly. Luna scratching at my husband's office door. He just came home a little bit ago. She's like, let me in. Loon! Oh, I shouldn't call her over here, then she's gonna bug me. Not about plants. What kind of music do you listen to? Honestly, I don't listen to a lot of music. Every once in a while, I'll turn the music station on, and it's usually just like whatever's playing on the radio. Like, I guess you call it top 40. Luna! Luna! Yeah, I guess not like a certain genre. I don't really listen to anything specific. I'll listen to whatever's on the radio, I guess. But yeah, I'm not like a big music listener per se. Usually around the holiday times, like now, I get the itch to turn on some like Christmas music just to play in the background. I haven't really started that yet, but I kind of want to. But yeah, if I do listen, it's just whatever's on the radio. I have a very full Polynura. It has 16 vines. Wow, that's a lot. And there are about 3 next to each other, yellowing and dropping leaves. The majority of the plant is doing great and still growing consistently. What could possibly be making only a small portion of it die? I would say if it's 3 vines next to each other, maybe that part of the root system is not good. Have you like repotted it recently or checked on the root system recently? Because if it's 3 vines together, I wonder if it's like connected to like the same area. There could be something wrong with like one part of the root system or stem. Usually yellowing like that and dropping leaves is a sign of holding on to too much water. So maybe there's just a part that's staying a little bit too moist. That's what I would think. So I would probably just maybe take it out of the pot if you can and just kind of examine what you can without really disturbing it too much. Maybe where the yellowing leaves are and kind of look at that area. Oh, that's got a pretty good root system. I propagated this one a couple of times too. I like the original splashy leaves, but it's not coming in as splashy. This is the freckles, Carnosa freckles. Splash. Where would you like to travel to next and why? At the top of my travel list, I really want to go to Hawaii. I've been wanting to go for a while. We really want to take an anniversary trip there, but we just haven't made it work yet. So hopefully soon, if not next year, maybe the year after. I would really like to go. We wanted to go for our 15th, which was last year, but it just didn't work out. And it didn't really work out this year either. So maybe next year or the year after. I'm not big into travel. I mean, I like to travel and experience things and, you know, if it's somewhere I really want to go, but I'm not someone who feels like the need to travel or feel like I'm missing out by not traveling. I honestly love being home. I am such a homebody, and traveling like makes me anxious too, and I hate being away from the babies, the kitties. I also like have so many plants now. It would be really hard for me to be away for a while. I think what I would do is, I usually don't like to be gone more than like, probably max would be like 4 or 5 days. So I don't see us ever taking like a long vacation anywhere. Usually like 2-3 nights is the max that we do, like a weekend away. But yeah, I really want to go to Hawaii. I've never been like overseas. I think that would be pretty cool to go somewhere over there. I've only been out of the country once, and it was Mexico. We had our honeymoon there. I really want to go to the Caribbean too. I've never been. I think that would be a lot of fun. So yeah, I like to travel. I just don't do it that often. Why are thrips the one pest out of all the others that seem to get you the most freaked out? I think thrips traumatized me when I had them. I don't know. I always get paranoid about pests. They're just so annoying. I think part of it is the reason is I'm someone who is so like constantly checking for pests and going through my collection, making sure my plants are pest free, especially now that I sell plants now. I'm even more like anal about it. I just don't like pests. But honestly, it was the first time really having thrips, and the damage that it did to my plants and the amount of stress I went through every day making sure that they were gone. Like, I don't want to deal with that again. I think if I had a thrips outbreak, I would probably cry right now. Although I'm beginning to think that mealies, I more have a headache with mealies right now. I honestly am just so sick of them. I think what I'm going to do, so I've been using the Pure Crop one for a couple weeks now. I'm going to spray these all with the Pure Crop one. I feel like it hasn't really done anything with the mealies, because I found a couple that came back on a plant that I had sprayed with it. So I think what I'm going to do is get one of the squirt bottles. I'm just going to use straight 70% alcohol, maybe dilute it with, maybe I'll do 50-50, 50 alcohol, 50 water, so it's not full strength, and just start spraying my plants. Because I feel like alcohol, like as soon as I touch alcohol to a mealy, like it instantly kills it. So I'm thinking I just need something strong like that to spray my plants off, but I don't want to hurt my plants. So I might do that in the future here, start spraying with alcohol. and seeing if that takes care of the problem. There's also a predatory insect I was looking at getting. Someone had mentioned it on my Instagram. I had tried the adults, but apparently the adults don't work that well. I forget the name of the bug. So I think I might try the larvae of that if they don't go away and see how that works out for me. But I forget the name of the bug. I'll have to put it on the screen because I feel like that would be my last resort because I pretty much have tried everything. Oh, that looks so much better on this trellis. So much better. I really like these round trellises. I need to get more of them. It's really cute. I'll probably let this one grow more and then I'll take some more propagations. I am so glad I got these all taken care of. I'm sad that the other two were rotting and the one didn't make it the, what you call it, the outer variegated, no, the inner variegated Hoya Bella. I'm sad that one didn't make it. All right, I have a pile of potted up Hoya. This makes me feel so good that a lot of these are taken care of. I have a Hoya serpens that's still rooting that hopefully I can pot that one up soon. And then I think I took care of all the Hoya that I needed to. There's some that are in 4 inches that I could upsize, but it's not urgent. And then I have the import one that I got from Cartel Down that I need to pot up after it rehabs. And yeah, I got 2 Hoya from Aroid Market recently, but those are gonna have to acclimate before I consider potting those up. But I think I've taken care of a lot of my Hoya that I really wanted to take care of. So I'm glad I took care of these and that they can be on their way to growing. Some of these I might not keep, like this one that I potted up off camera, this micro dwarf. I really don't like it. It's like a nice healthy plant. So I think since I just potted it up, I'm gonna let it acclimate and see how it does. And I think I might just sell it as is. Because someone maybe who really wants this Hoya could have it, because it seems to be like a really happy cutting. What is wrong with this thing? These little woody bits annoy me. I always like them cutting them off. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'll look for the blooms for this one, but again, this is one that I didn't, it was like a gift, but I'm really not that into it. I have propped, I think 1 or 2 propagations of it, which I feel like if I don't really like the plant, I'm not really gonna like to propagate it, so I might as well not keep it. So I think that one I'm for sure gonna let go. Everything else I kind of like for right now. Like some of these are brand new, like I haven't had for that long, and they're kind of like rehabbing back, so I'm not sure how they're gonna grow or how they're gonna do, but I'll see here. But yeah, let's go ahead and take these all to the sink, get them watered and sprayed, and yeah, we'll have to find a spot for them all. I had put my mic on the charger for like 20 minutes because it was getting low and it was like halfway charged, but it must not have charged because it's like low again. So I want to get to finishing up here before my mic goes out. I have them all in the sink. Look at them all. Here's a closer look at them. So I have them all here minus the 2 that are in stratum. So yeah, all I'm gonna do is rinse them just a little bit, just kind of get them wet. And then I'm gonna spray them with the Pure Crop and let it dry, and then I'm gonna water through my nutrient mix. That's all I'm gonna do. I just like to moisten the soil a little bit first, the mix. This is the Pure Crop one. It's not Dawn, even though it says it's Dawn, it's not. Just want to give the leaves a good little spray. I usually just let this air dry, or I don't rinse it off or anything. I haven't noticed it leaving any kind of weird residue or affecting grow lights affecting it or anything. I don't know. I really like using it. I just wish it was more effective against mealies. And I like that it's a natural and it's a fungicide. I have my nutrient mix in here already made up. I'm just gonna go through and water. Let me fill this up, and then I'm just gonna add a little bit of water in these to water them through. Yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna let them kind of air dry and drain, and then I'll have to figure out where they're gonna go. I'll fit them. I'll probably put them back, some back in their spot, like in the window and then the cabinets. And the acro bars I really need to clean out. They're both kind of dirty. I should probably do that later and fit what I can back in there, but we'll see. I'll make it work. And yeah, I'm gonna get my mess cleaned up and everything, but I hope you enjoyed the little Hoya pot up. And thank you again for sending in your questions. And I know I couldn't get to them all, but hopefully I can do another one here soon. And yeah, stay tuned for a planty update. I'm probably gonna film that. It is Thanksgiving this coming week, so I do want to put the Christmas stuff up though. I told myself I'm going to spend an entire day. I'm going to look forward to it. I'm going to put on some Christmas music, make an entire day out of it, decorate, because I missed decorating for for Halloween because I got sick and everything, and it was too late. By the time I was feeling better, it was like already Halloween pretty much. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to decorating for Christmas. So yeah, I'm going to take an entire day next week to do that, and some other plant chores and filming that I need to get done, and editing, and I'll have my shop to pack up Sunday and Monday. So yeah, I don't know if I'll get around to filming the plant update next week, but we'll see. If I don't do it next week, then I'll do it like first thing, probably like early the week after. But I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much again for watching and for being here. And yeah, I will talk to you soon.